Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and today I'm doing a class that has been very heavily requested. So this will be about an hour long and we're going to focus on how to improve and develop and strengthen our back bends. I know that when I first started doing yoga, back bends were not necessarily my favorite type of pose. It felt like a lot of pain and jamming in my lower back, and that's because the truth is when it comes to back bends, you're not using your low back that much. You really have to learn how to back bend from the upper back by lifting up first and then moving back into the pose. Plus, you also need to have a really good core engagement. So we're going to strengthen our abdominals at the beginning of class so that we're more in touch with them. And you also need to, well, depending on the pose, you usually need to have some pretty open hip flexors as well. And your legs need to be super strong so that you're able to support yourself in whichever kind of back bends that you're doing. Plus, you also need to be able to open through your shoulders and through your chest. So it's really not just your back. Your full body needs to be open, strong, and prepared for you to be able to do your back bends with relative ease. But don't worry if it's still challenging. This is about, I'd say it's an intermediate style of class. So even if you're a little bit more advanced or more beginner, there'll be a lot that you'll still be able to do and follow along with. And I'll give you cues on how to modify it if it's too easy or too hard. So with that said, let's start lying down on our backs. Just bringing the soles of the feet together to touch, letting the knees fall apart, and we'll extend our arms up overhead. So if this is too much for your low back, you can always just keep your feet flat to the ground and your knees bent. But we want to have the arms up overhead so that we can start breathing into the chest and breathing into the upper back. Relaxing down on our mat. Let go of anything that's still on your mind so that the next 60 minutes can really just be all about you. Feel your breath in and out through the nose, flowing smoothly. Feel the rib cage expand front to back, side to side. Allowing the knees to drop. And stretch the arms overhead. Take your last deep breath here. And then let's bend the knees, bring them back in towards the chest, giving them a big squeeze in towards the belly. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. Let's set our feet flat down to the ground. Keep your feet about hip width distance apart or so. Arms are alongside the body. Maybe reach back and see if you can touch your heels. We're going to be coming up into our bridge pose. So press the feet down into the ground, start to curl your tailbone up, and then you want to feel the hips lift up, then the low back, and then the mid back. We want to avoid letting the knees open up wider than our hips. Keep them about hip width distance apart so you're engaging the inner thighs. Pressing down through all four corners of both feet. If you'd like to go a little further, you can shrug your shoulders underneath you so that the backs of the arms are pressing into the ground to help your hips lift up a little higher. Squeeze the glutes a bit. Feel the legs strong and engaged. Let's lean our weight onto our left leg and extend your right leg up towards the sky. Reach through the toes and through the balls of the feet. Notice if the breath is short or shallow. Keep breathing deeply. And right leg comes down. Left leg reaches up. Powering up the lower body. Soften in the neck. Take one more inhale to lift. And then exhale, left leg comes down. Press into both feet. See if you can find a little bit more lift. Your final breath here. And very slowly we'll unwind. So release the arms. Roll down mindfully with control, inch by inch, until the hips come back down to the floor. From here, let's extend our legs straight up towards the sky. Reach through the balls of the feet and try to spread your toes as much as you can. So you really feel the engagement all down the legs, all the way down into the feet. We're going to interlace our fingers behind the back of our head, moving into a little bit of core work. It's going to be very simple, but still very effective. Squeezing the inner thighs. As you inhale, lift head and shoulders off the ground. Instead of curling towards your thighs, think of lifting up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, scoop your tailbone up an inch. Inhale, hold as you are. And then exhale, settle back down. A few more times like this. Inhale, upper body lifts up. Exhale, curl tailbone up. Inhale, hold. Exhale to lower. Inhale, head and chest. Exhale, lift the hips. Inhale to hold. Exhale to release. Two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Hold. And release. Last one. Inhale, upper body as high as you can. Exhale, scoop the tailbone up. Hold as you breathe in. And exhale, release. Let's bend the knees, pull them in towards the belly. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. And let's hold on to the backs of the thighs. Start to rock up and down. We're going to make our way into a tabletop pose. So crossing at the ankles, bring your knees underneath your hips, and you want your palms to be underneath your shoulders. We're going to take cat and cow, and really this is our first time doing a back bend. So as you inhale, feel the belly drop, you're curling tailbone up and pulling the heart forward. So hold this shape for just a second. Notice how it's probably a little bit easier to jam into the low back or to curve here, but I want you to still feel the extension at the front of the chest as you squeeze your shoulder blades behind you and pull through. On the exhale, round through the spine, bring the chin towards the chest, tailbone down. Go at your own pace as we move in and out of those two poses. Elbows are straight. Inhale, forward. Exhale to contract. Little back bend here. Inhale. Exhale, round. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to your neutral tabletop pose, let's take our puppy stretch, which is one of my favorite ways to help open up the shoulders. Keep your hips over your knees. Just walk your palms forward until the forehead can reach and press to the ground. Arms are nice and straight, and you're trying to melt your heart down towards the floor without overarching in your lower back. So keep the lower belly engaged a little here. Breathing into the chest. Let's start to walk the palms back in, and we'll move into our first downward dog. So palms are shoulder width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart, tuck the toes under, lift your hips up and back. Paddle the feet, do any little movements that you need to do here. We're reaching our chest to our thighs, shaking out the head a few times so the neck is soft. Press into the fingertips and into the knuckles so you can be lighter on your wrists. Looking forward towards the top of the mat, let's take as many little steps as you need. Coming into your Ragdoll Fold. Maybe widen the distance a little bit with your feet, so maybe a little wider than your hips. Bend the knees a little so the belly can rest over your thighs. Fingers can stay towards the floor, hold on to opposite elbows. Swaying gently side to side, front to back. Just noticing how the hamstrings feel, how the low back feels. Let's bring our fingertips back down to the ground. Bend your knees generously. Slowly roll all the way up to stand, inch by inch. Head and shoulders are the last to make their way there. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Palms shine forward. Standing at the top of the mat, if you haven't done that already, let's take our first little flow. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Palms come together to touch. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Feel free to bend your knees here. Halfway lift, inhale, flat back. Exhale, let's step our right foot back and stay high on the ball of your right toes. So right knee is lifted off the ground. Stay onto the tips of your fingers. We're going to do cat and cow from here. So as you inhale, drop the hips, lift the gaze. And as you exhale, try to push the floor away from you and around through the upper back. 2 more like this. Inhale, melt and reach the heart forward. Exhale, contract and pull the legs towards one another. Last one, inhale and exhale. Lower your right knee down to the floor, lifting up into your low lunge, arms reach up. So feel the tailbone reach down towards the mat as you lift up out of your lower back. Now this is important. This is going to stay super stable. So don't worry about moving from here. Keep this very, very strong. And instead, lift up through the upper part of your back. And then palms will come in towards one another and start to shift your gaze up. So there's a tiny little back bend here already. If you feel like you're jamming in your lower back, it's because you're curving in there too much. Think of lifting up through the chest and then going back. Still pressing your hips forward and down in your low lunge. And coming back up. Let's bring our palms to the floor. Step it back to your plank pose. Inhale. Exhale. Lower all the way to your belly. Taking 3 baby cobras, point the toes back and press the feet to the ground. As you inhale, lift chin, chest, and palms off the floor. Exhale to lower. 2 more like this. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale to release. Let's interlace our fingers behind our lower back. Reach your knuckles towards your heels as you lift the upper body. See if you can lift your knuckles off of that lower back. And if your low back feels good, legs can reach up too. Locust Pose. 3 breaths here. Back of the neck is long. No need to look up too high. Engaging the muscles along the spine. Can you lift up a little bit more? Exhale to release. Bring your palms underneath your shoulders. Press back into your downward facing dog. From our downward dog, let's lift our heels. Bend your knees, look forward to the top of the mat, and you can step or hop to make your way there. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch, little back bend. Exhale, hands at the heart. Let's move through our second round on the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, flat back. And this time step your left foot back. Keep your left heel lifted and off the ground, high onto the tips of your fingers. So cat and cow from here. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, pull the shoulders back. And then exhale, round, chin to chest. 2 more, inhale. And exhale, contract, belly in. Last one, inhale, lift. Exhale, contract. Let's bring our left knee down to the floor. Low lunge, core is nice and strong. Tailbone is reaching down as you press your hips forward and down, stretching into your hip flexors. Let's bring our palms together. Lift and shift your gaze up, finding a back bend here. Press the palms strongly together. And fingertips come down to the floor. We meet in our plank pose. Right foot steps back to meet the left. Inhale. Exhale, lower to your belly. Point the toes back, 3 baby cobras. Inhale, upper body lifts up. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Exhale to lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. And exhale to lower, palms underneath your shoulders. Sorry, let's interlace our fingers actually. Bring your other thumb on top, so reversing the way that you did it the first time, locust pose. Start by peeling the chest off the ground, and if you'd like to lift the legs, go ahead and do that as well. Get the inhale to be just as long as the exhale. Control your breath. Lifting up a little bit higher. And let's release, pressing back into our downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. From this downward dog, let's reach our right leg up towards the sky, bend the right knee and open up that hip nice and wide. Straighten and square your right leg so the knee and the toes point down. And we're going to step that foot forward in between the palms for warrior 1. Keep your feet a little bit wider than your hips. You want your back heel to be down at a 45-degree angle, and then the arms will reach up. So both shoulders and both hips are facing forward. We'll take our same little back bend here, press the palms towards one another, lift the chest. Breathing deeply. Coming all the way back to center. Let's open up the arms and interlace our fingers behind our lower back. Roll your shoulders down and away from the ears. Peel the heart open. Maybe go a little deeper into this one. Without dumping in the lower back, think of lifting up through the chest, coming all the way back up, and let's dive forward to the inside of our right thigh. Reach your knuckles up and over. Bend the right knee as much as you can. Looking down, let's bring both palms to the floor. Lower your left knee to the ground, and we're going to come into our tiger pose. So right heel kicks all the way up towards the sky as you drop the belly and lift the chest. So this is your inhale. And on the exhale, contract, pull your knee in towards your nose. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach and lift, squeeze the glutes. Exhale to contract. Last one, inhale, lift it up. Now lean onto your right hand, and if you'd like to go further, the left hand can reach back, maybe to hold onto your right foot, and then you're pressing the foot in towards the palm to lift up. Focus on something that is not moving. Take one more deep breath through the nose, and let's bring our left hand to the ground. Keep that right leg lifted. Straighten your right leg back so you roll your knee and your toes down towards the floor. Lean onto your left hand and start to reach your right arm up towards the sky. So this is a variation of your side plank pose. Firm up your core. See if you can lift your heel up a little higher. And if you want, we're going to take a back bend even here. So start to bend into your right knee, and you're going to catch a hold of your right foot from the inside with your right hand. Find your balance, and then you're kicking the foot in towards the palm, opening up the chest, leaning it back a little. Slowly unwinding. Let's look down. Take your downward facing dog. Hold if you'd like, or move through your vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower to your belly. Let's take 3 full cobras this time. So press into the tops of the feet. Reach your tailbone back, core is engaged. Inhale, chin and chest lift up, hips are on the floor. Exhale, pull the heart forward and down. 2 more. Inhale, arm and back strength, both working evenly. Exhale, pull it forward and down. Last one, inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Let's reach our arms up overhead. Palms are facing towards one another. Locust pose. Inhale, pick everything up. So we want to work on strengthening the back as much as we're working on flexibility. Having really strong back body muscles will help deepen your back bends and make them feel a lot better. Take 1 more breath. And let's release. Make your way back into your downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. And let's reach our left leg up towards the sky. Bend that knee, open your hip nice and wide. Keep pressing your left shoulder down. Straighten and square that left leg, and we're going to step it forward for our warrior 1. Give yourself a little bit more than hip width distance apart here. You want your back right foot to be at a 45-degree angle. Press into the legs to lift up. Left knee is bending. Careful not to let your right hip open up towards the long edge of your mat. Keep scooping it forward. Drop the hips a little bit more. Core is really strong. Press the palms together and feel a lift. So tailbone is still reaching down. This is just a little extension in the chest. Coming all the way back to center, let's open up the arms and interlace them more unusual way. So the other thumb on top. Roll your shoulders down and away from the ears. Take another little back bend here. Inhale, come up. And let's dive forward to the inside of our left thigh. Reach your knuckles up and over, stretch into the shoulders, and into the pectorals and biceps. Lower your hips as much as you can. Looking down, bring your hands to the floor. We're coming in tiger pose. So right knee comes to the floor, left heel kicks all the way up towards the sky. Drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, pull your knee in towards your chest and round. 2 more. Inhale, squeeze the glutes, lift up. Exhale, pull it in. Last one, holding here. Get your full extension. Lean your weight on your left hand and reach back with the right. Catching a hold of your foot as you press it in towards the palm to lift it up a little higher. Steady gaze will help with balance. Take 1 more full breath. Left leg will stay up. We're just going to bring our right hand to the mat. Straighten your left leg back behind you so the knee and the toes are pointing down. Lean onto your right leg and then start to extend and open up as you reach your left arm up. Squeezing the glutes. Bend into your left knee and you're going to catch a hold of your foot from the outside with your left palm and then kick that foot in towards the hand as you lean the chest back a little bit. Looking down to the floor, let's find our downward facing dog. Moving through our vinyasa, inhale to plank, exhale, lower down. Point the toes back, 3 cobras. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften down. 2 more, inhale, rise. And exhale, soften. Last one, inhale, come on up. Exhale to release. Reach your arms forward. Palms are facing towards one another. Locust pose. Pick everything up off the floor. Release on the exhale, and let's just come to a child's pose. Keep your knees pretty close together for this one. Big toes touch. Sit your hips on your heels, and the arms can reach back. We're going to be here for about 10 or so breaths. And super slowly, let's start to roll back up. And we're going to make our way into our next flow. So come into your down dog. Palms shoulder width distance apart. Feet are hip width distance apart. Strengthening our core a little bit more to help with the next few back bends that we'll be doing. Reach your right leg up towards the sky. And as you exhale, come to plank pose and tap your right knee towards your right shoulder. Inhale, reach it up and back. Exhale, knee to nose into your plank pose. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale to twist, right knee towards your left shoulder. Back into your three-legged dog. Bend the right knee, open up the hip. So either stay here if this is enough or transition into your wild thing. Right toes drop back behind you. Lean onto your left hand and extend your right arm up and over as you press into both legs so that the chest and the hips are pressing up. Legs need to be really active. Take one more full breath in the pose, and then carefully come to side plank. Right arm up, align your right leg over your left, pressing into the hips, engage the obliques. Looking down to the floor, right palm comes down to the ground into your plank pose. Exhale to down dog. Let's re-extend that right leg up towards the sky and step it forward for your crescent lunge. Feet are hip width distance apart. Power up the legs and lift on up. Dropping the hips and staying long through both sides of the waist. Let's bring our hands at our heart to help with balance. We're going to come and step up onto our right leg. Pull your left knee in with you, and we'll take a twist before we come into our next back bend. Bring your right hand to your left shin and start to extend your left arm back as you open up the chest. So hips are facing forward. Unwind, come back to center. Let's come into dancer's pose. So you'll need to catch a hold of the inside of your left foot with your left palm. Right arm can reach forward in front of you. Start to kick that foot in towards the hand as you lift it up. So try not to let your knee open up too wide. And you're not dipping your chest down. You're trying to keep it lifted. Gaze is steady. Slowly release. Once more, let's pull our knee in towards our chest. Just a nice little way to counteract and release that back bend. And while we're here, let's do one more balancing pose, coming into tree pose. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Hands can be at the heart as you find your balance, or you can reach the arms up overhead. Breathing deeply. Lift and lengthen. Hands come together at the heart. Release your left foot to the top of the mat next to your right. Let's take our flow. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward and release. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, and let's step it back into plank pose. Firm up your core. We're going to take Chaturanga, so lower and hover halfway, coming into upward dog. We're going to hold this up dog for a few breaths. You want your thighs to be engaged, so pulling up through the kneecaps. Hips are lifted off the ground, and you're drawing your shoulders back behind you so the chest is open and lifted. Breathing into the chest and breathing into the heart, lifting up a little more. Use your core strength as you engage and lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Making our way to the second side, please extend your left leg up towards the sky. And as you exhale, come to plank and tap your left knee towards your left shoulder. Hips are low. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose into your plank pose. Inhale, we extend. Exhale to twist. Left knee to your right elbow. Inhale, reach it up. Let's bend the left knee, open the hip, come into your wild thing. Left toes drop back behind you, lean on your right hand, and extend that left arm up and over. Pressing into the hips, lifting the chest. Both legs are super strong. Find your center as we come into our side plank. Left arm extends straight up. You're aligning your left leg over your right. Hips and shoulders facing towards the side. Looking down, left hand comes down. Find your down dog. Lift the hips up and back. Realign the feet. Same leg reaches up. Left leg, inhale. Step it forward into your crescent lunge. Feet are hip width distance apart. Arms reach up. Bend the left knee, let the hips drop. Hands come at the front of the heart. We're going to step up on our left leg and pull our right knee in with us. Find your balance as we take our twist. So left hand over your right shin. Bring your right arm back behind you as you open the chest. Coming back to center. Let's take our dancer's pose. So catch a hold of your right foot from the inside. Left arm reaches forward. Reach your tailbone down and then press the foot in towards the palm to start lifting it up and back. Careful not to let your knee open up too wide. Focus on one thing only. Counteract by coming out of the pose. Pull your knee in towards your chest. Give it a big squeeze. Tree pose. Right foot comes to the inside of your left thigh. Hands can either be at the heart or reaching up overhead. Hands together at the heart. Let's release, big toes together, heels apart. Take your vinyasa. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms. Find your plank. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Hold it for a few moments. Feel the engagement and the power in the legs. Actively press the tops of your feet and the toenails in the ground. Pull your shoulders back so you're not rounding forward, not collapsing in the low back. Exhale to downward facing dog. From this downward dog, let's bring our knees to the floor and lower all the way to your belly. So we're going to spider the fingers, which just means that you're bringing them a little bit wider than your shoulders off the mat and coming onto the tips of your fingers so the palms are not on the ground. Press the feet into the floor, and as you inhale, feel yourself ripple up, chin and chest lift, and then exhale, melt forward and down. 2 more times like this. Inhale, lift, and exhale, release. Nice and slow, moving with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Let's bring our left forearm to the ground. You want to turn it at about a 45-degree angle to begin with. I find that's the easiest way, and afterwards we'll be able to realign it. But just go at an angle, and you're going to bring your right foot in so you can reach back with your right hand and pull it down. You might not be here, you might be a little further back, or you might need a strap, which is perfectly fine. Those of you that are feeling pretty good here and want to go a little further, you can loop around your toes and flip your grip so that the elbow lifts up, and then you can lift up off of that left elbow, and going deeper into your back bend. Slowly lowering back down. And releasing, turn one ear to the ground, arms by your side, relax. And lifting back up, let's switch sides, right forearm on the ground. Lift your chest a little and start to bend the left knee. And you can pull that heel in whichever way is accessible and works for you. If you'd like to flip your grip, you're just holding onto your toes any way you can, and then trying to lift the left elbow and the right. If it feels like pinching in the lower back, you've gone too far. And slowly release. Turn the other ear on the ground, arms by your side. Let's take our last back bend on our stomach here, setting ourselves up for full bow pose. So this time, both knees need to bend, catch the outer edges of your ankles or of your feet. Keep your knees about hip width distance apart, so scooch and engage the inner thighs, and then reach your tailbone back so there's integrity in the low back. Press the feet in towards the palms and start to lift up. Opening space at the front of the chest. See if you can lift the thighs off the mat. One more full breath and release. Let's come into an easy child's pose again to help release anything this might have brought up in the low back. Pretty intense back bending sequence, so round, forehead to the ground, arms back. And slowly lift back up. So let's start to unwind from that very intense practice. Swing your legs forward. Lowering down on your back. And we'll do the exact same thing we did at the beginning of class, so coming into our bridge pose, but we're gonna make it really simple and easy, so keep the arms resting by your sides. Feet are hip width distance apart. Press the feet into the floor, curl tailbone up, and slowly start to lift the hips, low back and mid back off the ground. Just notice how this one feels as opposed to the first one you did at the beginning of class. Maybe there are differences. Soften the chest and shoulders and the arms. Take 3 deep belly breaths. And we will ease our way down inch by inch. Extending the arms out into a T. Taking a Lang spinal twist, which is my favorite thing to do after I've done a lot of back bends. So lift your hips and move them a little to the right before dropping both knees down to the left. If you'd like to go a little further, you can always cross your right thigh over your left before letting the knees drop. Chest is facing up. Breathe into the low back, into your right hip and right glute. Engage the belly and the legs, unwind. Lifting one leg and uncrossing them. We'll move to the other side. So hips go to the left. And you can drop both legs to the right, or you can wrap your left thigh around your right before letting the knees drop. Softening anything that doesn't need to be working right now. Letting go. Let's unwrap the legs one by one. And we'll pull our knees in towards our belly. Wrap around your legs and lift your head and chest. Touch your knee to your knees, or your nose to your knees. Set your head and shoulders back down. So I'm going to finish in shoulder stand because I think that's a really great inversion to do, especially when I've been doing a lot of back bends. If that doesn't really work for your body, you can always just do legs up the wall by lifting your legs up and leaning them away. Otherwise, we're going to lift our hips up, and you can prop your low back with your palms so you have a bit more support. And just try to settle into stillness here, roughly trying to align your ankles over the knees, over the hips. Softness in the shoulders and in the neck and jaw. Trying to find your center of gravity. If you're in shoulder stand and would like to take your plow pose, you can drop your legs back behind you, toes to the floor, arms reaching forward, clasping at the fingers. Get that nice counter stretch. And let's start to unwind by bending the knees. And you're going to roll out into your Shavasana. Our final resting pose. Take up some space. Palms facing up towards the sky, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Soften. Coming back to whatever breath is natural to you. Thank you so very much for doing this practice with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference and it helps to support free yoga, which is a pretty cool thing. Have a fantastic day. Namaste.